Today is the third and final day we'll be graphing linear inequalities in two variables. In today's lesson, instead of giving an inequality and asking us to graph it, we're going to do the reverse. We are given a graph, and we're going to be asked to write the inequality that matches the graph. So in number one, there's a few things I need to notice right away. So I know in order to write the equation of a line, I need the slope and I need the y-intercept. So that's what I'm going to start with. So my y-intercept is right here at -4, and my slope, remember, is rise over run. So one of the ways I can do it is to find 2 points that go through the corner of the box. So here's one here at my y-intercept. Here's another one right here, which is also through the corner of the box. So to get from I'd like to start the point from the left. So I'm going to go up 1. So when I go up, that's a positive 1. And then I'm going to go to the right 1 to get to my next point, which is also a positive 1. So my slope, when I simplify that, is 1. So let's write what I have so far. So I have y. I'm going to leave this blank right now, my inequality sign. And then I have 1x, which is x, minus 4. So I notice that I have a solid line. So that's going to be important when I write my inequality symbol. And I notice that my graph is shaded above. This piece right here is above. Remember the marble test. If the marble was on that side, it would stay above this line. If the marble happened to be on this side, it would drop to the bottom, so that's considered below. So because it's above, I know it's greater than. Because it's a solid line, I know my symbol is greater than or equal to. So I'm just going to substitute that in. So I have y is greater than or equal to x minus 4. Now again, if I want to double check, I can pick a point in the shaded region, which is 0, 0. I'll pick that point just to make sure that I did my inequality symbol right. That's always the tricky part. So if I substitute in for x and y, I have 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 4, which is 0 is greater than or equal to -4. That's true, so it looks like I used the correct inequality symbol. So right here is my final answer. I have y is greater than or equal to x minus 4. Moving on to number 2, again, we're going to do the same thing we did in the last problem. I know what my y-intercept is by looking at the graph. Looks like it's right here at 4, so it's positive 4. Now my slope. Now I notice again my slope is negative, right? Upper left to bottom right. So I'm going to pick another point that goes through the corner of that box, and it looks like probably my next point is right here. So if I start from my point from my left, which is my y-intercept, and I go down 2 to get to that other point. So remember, down 2 is a negative. That's my rise, and my run is a positive 1 to the right, which is 1. So my slope is equal to -2. So again, like last problem, I'm going to set up what I have, leaving a blank for my inequality symbol. So I have -2x plus 4. Now again, I notice this is considered above my graph, and this is considered below. I notice that I have a dashed line, so that's going to be important. So above is greater than. Because it's a dashed line and not a solid line, I'm just going to keep the greater than. So my final inequality is y is greater than -2x plus 4. Now again, I can pick a point if I want. I can pick, let's say, 3. I like to do it numbers that are the same, 3, 3 right there. So if I pick 3, 3, and I substitute it in to check, I get 3 is greater than -2 times 3 plus 4. So 3 is greater than -6 plus 4. So that gives me 3 is greater than or equal to -2, which is a true statement. So I know my inequality symbol is correct. So my final inequality is y is greater than -2x plus 4. And looking at number 3, it's a little different. I don't have a y-intercept because I have a vertical line. So that's going to be important. I have a vertical line, which we know we've talked about before in the past is a vux. The v stands for vertical line, the u stands for undefined slope, and the x lets me know that I'm having x equals a number. So that's going to be my equation of the line. X equals, I know that this line is at -3, so x is equal to -3. That's my equation. Now I need to change it to an inequality symbol, so I have x is -3. I notice that I have a dashed line, so I have to pay attention to that when I'm writing the symbol. And I shaded everything to the right-hand side of x is equal to -3. So all of those values are larger, -1, 0, 1, 2. So all of those values are greater than -3. So I know I'm going to have a greater than sign. Again, because it's dashed, I know I'm not going to have an equal sign. So in the end, my inequality is going to be x is greater than negative 3. And looking at our last problem for today, my y-intercept is at the origin, so that's 0. And my slope, I need to pick 2 points. So I'm going to use my origin, and it looks like a point right here also goes through the corner of the box. Remember, that's rise over run. So it looks like I go up 2 if I start at the point to the left, so that's going to give me a positive 2. Then I go to the right 3, which is also positive, so my slope is 2/3. So my equation of that line would be y is equal to 2/3 x. My y-intercept is 0, so I wouldn't write plus 0, I would just leave it like that. Now I just have to figure out what my inequality symbol is. So I have y, and I have 2/3 x. I notice that I have a solid line. I also shaded above. So that symbol will be greater than or equal to x. So I have y is greater than or equal to 2/3 x. Let's pick a point. Pick a point right there. I have 2, 2. If I can't use 0, 0, I like to use 2, 2. I try to pick something away from the line. It makes it a little easier to check. Also, that way, if I pick the numbers that are the same, such as 2, 2 or 3, 3, I don't have a chance of making a mistake by plugging them into the wrong variable. So I have 2 is greater than or equal to 2/3 times 2. So 2 is greater than or equal to 4/3. And 4/3 is the same as 1 1/3, so it's definitely less than 2. So I know that my inequality symbol is correct. Y is greater than or equal to 2/3 x.